But for this one, we have invited them purposely to inspire us and guide us as we aspire to be like them at where they are. So on that note, I'll clerk, please do us the honors.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Profile of Honorable K. Bedzrah, MP. Honorable Emmanuel Bedzrah, a Ghanaian politician and a chartered quantity surveyor, represents Ho West constituency in the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic. He holds a BSc in Business Administration from University of Ghana and a Master's in the Development Finance and Development Management of JINPA. He is the CEO and founder of Keta Foundation and a health NGO focusing on rural healthcare. Serving his 4th consecutive term in the Republican Parliament for Ho West constituency on the ticket of the NDC. He is also a member of the Ghana delegation to Ecowas Parliament, chairman for the Volta MPs Caucus, and the head of the Parliamentary Christian Fellowship. Additionally, he chairs the African Parliamentary Network Against Corruption and is a fellow of the Ghana's Institution of Surveyors. With one accord, let's welcome Honorable.
Thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, before I go to my prepared speech, I'm told that I'm speaking too much on issues when it comes, and then it has to do with vegetable. So my office has decided that now I should read speeches. But before I go into my prepared speech, right Honorable Speaker, my preliminary comment, one has to do with your winning the Youth Parliamentary Model mock in Ghana. I want to congratulate you on behalf of my other colleagues who are members of Parliament from the Volta region for doing this honor. In fact, I was elated when I heard that you won, and the speaker presented you with this big trophy. I hope you defend your title next time around. The second one has to do with the fact that I see some trend, both in Parliament and here, and I was talking to the right honourable speaker, that I see more of minority MPs than the majority MPs. I don't know if because they are doing government business and they decide to go and defend their title because they are doing their primaries. That's why they are not here today. But when you get to Parliament of Ghana, you see the same thing. The minority MPs are more than the majority MPs. And I see it happening here as well. The third one has to do with the fact that there are procedural issues when it comes to issues of Parliament. And maybe once in a while we'll pass by to take you through those procedural issues. One of them has to do with the base that we have here. Now, every member of Parliament, irrespective of the fact that yours is a model Parliament for the youth, you must emulate what we do in the House. So when you stand, or before you sit down, you bow not to the base, but to the authority of the House. The authority of the House is the base. I see most of you standing, going out and coming back, without giving respect to the base. And so, I don't know how your modern Parliament is structured, but as you are growing, you should learn what we do in the big house. So before you take your seat, especially those of you who are late, before you take your seat, you bow to the speaker. As soon as the speaker sits, and you recognize the base, you must bow. It's not that you're worshiping the idol. And then when you are about to leave, even for a second, you bow. When you come back again, you bow before it ends. It's a procedural issue. Especially in Commonwealth Parliament, when we use the names. Some Parliament, they don't have names, they don't have any sign of authority. But in a Commonwealth Parliament, where we have a sign of authority on the knees, you bow to the knees, or you bow to the speaker. So please, I'm watching. The final one, if I go to my previous speech, has to do with the fact that we need a power involved. I wish we could have media people here, taking note of the debate that will be ensuing. We want to see your fathers and mothers, watching you at a live or for debating issues of national concern. And in the presentation our special guest gave, we need our mothers, our fathers, and the general public to take note of it. It is something of great importance to all of us. And so, please, whatever you can do to get a public, even if you can bring all market women here to watch you debate alone, it's a moral booster for you. It's a moral booster for all of you. You see your fathers or people from outside coming to cheer you on or see you debating. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to bring it to your attention. If you can get the GJ to give you a free bono, and also some of the media houses, we can give you a free, airtime as you are debating. We carry it live. That will help this house. Having said that, my prepared speech. Right Honourable Speaker, our special guest speaker, Ms. Gloria Amago, and her husband, my colleague member of Parliament from Keta constituency in the Ghana's Parliament, honourable members of Youth Impact Parliament located here in Ho. It is a privilege to be honored with this invitation to address this August House here in no other place but the Oxygen City Ho. Indeed, it is not lost on anyone, as I've been introduced to this in this auditorium, that I'm the fourth term member of Parliament, where I represent the good people of Ho West constituency, and also a member of the Ecowas Parliament as Ghana representative. Notwithstanding, however, I still see this invitation as an honor to address this House, which is meant to be a replica of a real Parliament. I'm particularly excited because I understand this initiative is meant to serve as a breeding ground for future leaders of our dear country, Ghana. Nothing can be more important at this moment of our country's history than a forum such as this to shape the minds of our future leaders. I am very glad to see here, Mr. Speaker, and may our deliberation today be fruitful. Mr. Speaker, I wish to start by commending the Youth Impact movement for the initiative to assemble young people for the purpose of learning the rudiments of lawmaking, which is the basic parliamentary work. To this end, I would like to highlight two issues of contemporary relevance and make sweeping suggestions and conclude with my own story as a parliamentarian. Mr. Speaker, the role of Parliament, for that matter, a parliamentarian, in a functioning democracy cannot be overemphasized. The phrase, rule of law and good governance, has often been used by many people in categorizing what we call democracy today. One question that often comes to mind, and which must interest you all as well, is the rule of which law? Second question that flows from this phrase, what do we mean by good governance? Whenever we speak, Mr. Speaker, attempting to provide answers to these two questions will lead to unraveling the role of a parliamentarian in a functioning democracy. Mr. Speaker, I use the phrase functioning democracy deliberately and purposefully. Let me be clear that I do so because there are democracies that are dysfunctional, even though there is a house called parliament. And I can give a typical example. Being a member of Ecowas parliament, we have a parliament in Guinea-Bissau. The president decides to dissolve parliament at his own whims and caprices. And as we speak now, the parliament of Guinea-Bissau has been dissolved by the president. If you do anything against him, he will dissolve the parliament. And that's their constitution. So that's a dysfunctional parliament. It's not a parliament, even though they are elected members of parliament, the president can decide to dissolve. And it can be dissolved. So as we go back to the house in Abuja this month, end of this month, Guinea-Bissau will not be represented because even though there's a house called parliament, the members of parliament have been dissolved. I will therefore plead for your ignorance when I use the phrase functioning democracy. Back to the question and my own attempt to deal with them briefly. Right, Honourable Speaker, the most important organ of government of the people anywhere on earth since ancient Greece is parliament. And I believe most of you who have studied parliament knows that. Initially, people gather and take decisions. And later on, they decide that, well, let's select few people from some homes. Let them come in and meet at a tree and take decisions for us. That's how parliament, or let's meet, starts. So it becomes parliament. I say with this, with no apologies at all, because our history as a country is a living testament to the fact that once upon a time, in this context, once upon several times in Ghana, we have had governments in Ghana that have both the executive and judiciary arms in place without the legislature. The only arm of government that was sacrificed in those days was Parliament, which is the House of Representatives of the people whom sovereignty resides. Mr. Speaker, therefore, it therefore goes without reasoning that formulating, debating, and passing laws to govern a country is an important ingredient in any functioning democracy. And as such, an institution must be jealously guarded if democracy must thrive. Without laws to regulate human beings or human behavior, we can all attest to the fact that even the proverbial animal kingdom would be a better place to live. A direct answer to the first question, therefore, would be the rule of laws made in Parliament on behalf of the people and for the people. It therefore means that those laws must be made in Parliament and not in anybody's bedroom or anybody's kitchen for the people. The process involved in lawmaking are rigorous, sometimes complex, and time-consuming. Right? So because it is about the people. It is important to underscore the point that laws passed in any parliament must not only resonate with the aspirations of the people, but more importantly, be in tandem with the supreme law of the land, which we all know, the Constitution. To this end, every serious parliamentarian must not only read and understand the standing orders, and I see your standing orders as well, of Parliament, but to internalize both the spirit and the letter of the Constitution, which must serve as a guide to any other law that is promulgated by the House. You all remember recently, the Supreme Court came out to say that one of the laws that we passed, that is the narcotic amendment law, which has to do with weed. You know, so the Supreme Court came out to say that the law we pass has something against the Constitution, and so we should rein I mean, we should look at it and amend it. And so we should be aware whether it affronts the Constitution or is in line with the Constitution. In addition to the key role of lawmaking by Parliament, the legislative arm is also clothed with the power to play an oversight responsibility on the executive arm of government. This role of Parliament addressed largely my second question on good governance. At the root of good governance in all civilized society is ability. A system of government where the executive arm does not account to the people through the use. A system of government where the executive arm does not account to the people through the use of appropriate legislative instrument is simply dysfunctional. The role of parliamentarian therefore goes beyond the use of the title honorable. Most people prefer the title honorable to even their own name. I tell you, Honorable Kwame will tell you that I prefer to be called Foyima or EKB than the title. People want the title, even when they are no longer members of Parliament, they want to be called honorable. I remember a story. A friend said, "Where's the work?" And that was the first time he won his election. And then he was inducted to Parliament. And when he got to where they usually eat, Mr. Speaker, he said, "Somebody said, honorable. He was wondering whether they were calling his, predecessor, because he can't understand that all of a sudden they are calling him honorable. He thinks that it should be called Mr. at that point. He has forgotten that he's been inducted into the main house. But now, in assemblymen call honorables, and they are only interested in the title, not the work, which has unfortunately become the toast of many who aggressively push to become members of Parliament. Right, Honourable Speaker, holding the executive arm of government accountable, in our case, an executive arm with excessive power is a Herculean task, where the real power play is often given oxygen. It will therefore require people with a true sense of nationalistic mindset to be able to uphold the constitutional imperative of holding the executive to account on behalf of the people. Good governance, in its true sense, is achieved through the interplay of parliamentary process that make it mandatory for other arms of government to be accountable to the people. The issue regarding rule of law and good governance, therefore, makes Parliament the nation's compass in our country's democratic journey. With these two responses to my own set of questions, it is abundantly clear that Parliament indeed is not a place for adventurers, but a place for serious minds where personal integrity is of utmost importance. And I will therefore implore this House to prioritize learning the rudiments of building personal integrity as the first steps towards becoming a responsible citizen first, and if the opportunity presents itself, serve as a future member of Parliament with a difference. I'll give a brief history about myself. And then, Mr. Speaker, I'll take my seat. I began my political career in 2007 as an accomplished quantitative as I've been introduced. I ran a private consulting firm, having worked in the government sector paying this. So I'm not a small boy. And then I joined Parliament as a practicing quantity surveyor. Check Parliament website. When I became a member of Parliament, I was made a member of Technical Assistant Group that supervised the renovation of Top 600. And my expertise in Parliament is always there, especially when it comes to the debate on issues of housing and roads. I had to learn the rudiments of parliamentary procedures from the scratch with all seriousness in order to survive the heat in the house. Full of professionals from diverse backgrounds. Let me give a typical example. When I entered Parliament, I decided I would not speak for 6 months. That was the picture. I would observe people and also learn. But the first opportunity was given to me to speak. Honorable Papa Oswald, who is the ambassador to UK, interject. You know, we have parliamentary jargons. Point of order. In fact, as soon as I stood up they said, point of order. Let me say, discuss it. The young man has not started speaking. Allow him. The first statement I made, they said, no, Mr. Speaker. Then he stood up again. The guy, anything that I said, point of order. I didn't understand why he was doing that. That was my first time after 6 months for learning, how things are done in Parliament, the rudiments in Parliament. Then when we finished, he came to me and said, young man, do you know why I did that? Then I said, no. I said, you see, I've been observing you, and I realized that you were not in a rush to speak. I needed you to become a friend so that I can help you in Parliament. And so for a front bench person, a former Minister of State, who had observed me with his eye from the other side, but then they were in minority, and we were in the majority. And my seat was behind the podium. When you come as a first timer, you sit behind. My friend is sitting, currently he sits. So when I'm not in the house, he tries to take my seat. Next time I go to the class, he will move to my seat. He wants to become a fourth timer immediately. And for him to observe that there's somebody who can be trained, I caught his eye and he became my friend, even till today. Anytime I needed something, I go to him as an opposition person to train me than even my own colleagues who were from the majority side. And so, rudiments of parliamentary procedures from scratch with all seriousness. Understanding the fundamentals quickly, as I gave an example, helped me to serve on several committees where the real work of parliamentarians is. Currently, even though because I'm now in Ecowas, not the ranking member for Western Housing, there's nothing in Parliament when it comes to Western Housing that will not be engaged. Even if I'm in Ecowas, they will still have to engage me. As soon as I entered Parliament, that was the first committee I was given. Then the second time, I was asked to chair a committee called Government Assurance Committee. Government Assurance Committee is a committee that has a supervisory role over all MMDAs, Ministry, Department, and agencies. So duty is to hold government accountable or minister accountable for promises that they made on the floor of the House. And that committee has never functioned before. More especially when the chairmanship is from the majority side or ruling government. And so for me to be given that position, others thought that it was going to be business as usual. But I turned that committee around. By the second year, we started having what we call public hearing. The committee became so powerful during my tenure as the chairman, to the extent that in 2015, the minister who appeared before us gave an assurance that if by December the doomsday was not settled, he was going to resign. In January 2016, the minister resigned. So that's how powerful that committee was when I was the chairman of that committee, even though my party was in power. And so you need to learn the rudiments. You need to learn how parliament works. And if you rush into it, you get caught up. This gentleman that I came with, Honorable Gakpey, so far has asked not less than 100 questions in parliament. He writes a question, sometimes he says, Chairman, can you look at this question? He has specialized in asking questions from his constituency to national issues. That's how he started. And so, when you look at our voter proceedings, his name appeared severally on the voter proceedings as well as the handle for asking questions. My journey as a politician, however, has not been smooth as it might appear on the outside, but a mix of hard work, disappointment, focus, selflessness, and sacrifices. I've been able to navigate the murky waters of propaganda, driven politics with some achievement to show for my stewardship. I survived 3 hotly contested parliamentary primaries with the help of God and a solid team dedicated members. I also enjoyed one acclamation where the people felt there was no need for contest after my first term. Right now, Speaker, I would have loved to go into the nitty-gritty of my political journey so far, but time will not allow for such a storytelling session today. So I will conclude with a message I gave to some young politicians last week at the University of Ghana, Lagos. In fact, I urge these young men and women to prioritize service to the country as devotion to God. And I want to tell you again here that really public service or political service, it is a duty to God, a devotion to God. I use some biblical examples to prompt my advice to them while relating same to my own story as a politician which has seen the hand of God in all that I have done and achieved so far with integrity and as my guiding principle. Let me conclude once again commending this initiative, Mr. Speaker, and hope your purpose or this purpose is enhanced for a better future. Also, the point must be made that even though representation and lobbying for projects to one's constituency are important and have become the main cause for the high rate of attrition in Parliament, I wish to re-emphasize that it is not about bragging with the title honorable that matters at this particular moment in our country's development, but to one's ability to meaningfully impact the laws that are made for the citizenry, as well as one's capacity to play the oversight role with integrity as a parliamentarian. That's what it is. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the honor that we. Thank you.
Members, accept youth in Parliament. You have here 2 sitting members of Ghana's Parliament seated among you. And I think we should applaud their presence again. We will have some questions and answers, but before then, we would also want to hear from the Honorable Member for Keta, Honorable Gakpey. If I'm right, Jolly Gakpey. Honorable, please, can we hear from you to add on what Honorable said?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity for this on this occasion. Mine is not going to be a speech because we are all learning, and then it's a UK part Parliament. I have some representations I want to highlight. I also, looking at your list, Mr. Speaker, the position of the list also speaks. In Parliament, when you are crossing from minority to majority, you have to bow down to the knees. Otherwise, it is an attempt at a cross carpet. And then from the cross carpet. So they can make a decision on you. So when you are crossing from this side to the other side, you must bow down to the knees, meaning you are not crossing carpets. Are you okay with that? Second, when you look at the angle in which your mace is showing that we are in consideration stage of a bill. And then in Parliament, because we want to teach you proper things, you'll be doing the angle in which the mace is showing that we are in consideration stage of a bill. It should be up, it should be relaxed. Yes. So it's something that you need to work on so that we are practicing the rudiment of parliamentary practice.
And so if you would allow, let me call on the Marshal to do immediately.
Yes.
So let them
in Parliament, when bills are in for Parliament, it goes through first reading, second reading. The third stage is what we call consideration stage. That one we do it clause by clause. And then, in fact, when it comes to there, you see a lot of people, members of Parliament, a lot of people will not be in the chamber. And that is why I will stay in the chamber. But that is where the Parliament matters. You can see somebody first, second term, or fourth term in Parliament. But you can be first term. If you are able to stay in the chamber, you are master more than you. So it's always good to stay in the chamber. That's the only way. So in conservation stage, that is why we put the mix in that angle. After the conservation stage,
let me just add something to the slanting of the base and the uprising. The slanting of the base is that your procedures in the house is relaxed. So during that consideration stage, you can ask more than 3 or 4 questions. You can contribute more than 3 or 4 times. Our standing orders allow you to ask 1 question or speak once. But relax it, you can ask so many questions. And then when the house is suspended, the maze will be upright. But as soon as it slants, you can even walk, as he said, you can walk back and forth. But as soon as you see it upright, you have to bow, otherwise you have cross carpet. So slanted, the Parliament sitting is relaxed.
So we are just bringing these things to your attention. We are all learning. And also, Parliament have a way of dressing. Some of you will come to Parliament in jeans and t-shirt, you will go back. Not allowed. So you must dress properly. No t-shirt and all that in Parliament. So as you are learning, those of you who are wearing polo shirt and take notes. Subsequent time, Mr. Speaker, you don't allow anybody to wear polo shirt or whatever. It's not allowed in Parliament. We have a dress code. If they come with jeans, they will sack you. Yeah. We are just bringing this because it's a lot of people who don't know in the chamber a lot of. And then one thing also is that in the chamber, we have in the chamber we call immunity. So at that chamber, you can say whatever you want to say. Nobody can take you to any court or do anything to you because you said it in the chamber. But if you say it outside, you can take it on. So that is one thing also you must know how to hear. That's why you see, yes, they do so many things. You remember during the election of the speaker, Carlos, took some of the back and if really it was outside, they would have taken him serious and prosecuted him. But that thing happened in the chamber, and the chamber is immune, so you cannot be prosecuted. You understand that? These are them. And in Parliament, the only person who, the speaker has power, he can walk you out. The speaker can order the marshal to take you out from the Parliament. Yes, you have that power. And also, military and police cannot come to the chamber unless authorization from the marshal of the Parliament. So in Parliament, we have police, all right, but the duty of being proceeding, the only one who can actually take you out is the marshal. Those are the parliamentary police. And then when we are also making the possession, I ask whether you have means, and you have means. So the means, the marshal must be in the front, and then lead you. The moment the means come in and they put, then the proceedings are started. So next time when you are coming, you have resemblance of means. So the marshal should be at the forefront when you need to, when you come into. So those are the few remarks I want to make, and then it's a good program, and then we are privileged to begin. Especially the counseling session, I enjoy it so much because it's something that we have taken for granted. And Madam Speaker, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention because it's something in Parliament we don't have counseling, and we the MPs go to the road. And I can tell you on authority, 70% of MPs are on BP jobs. We are on BP jobs, morning, we go to a lot. People don't see us. So counseling is very vital, and it's something we need to do. And then during the speech, one thing I love so much is that in UK, I keep on saying it, I went to Leeds University to do my master's. In Leeds Beckett University, the assessment, they give you topic where do research, do presentation, the assessment is based on assessment. But in that people are doing masters, they have to do objective questions. What kind of learning are we getting? Because you're not supposed to be practical and then do things. They are giving you objective questions for masters. What are you going to do? But then they give you topic, you research, go to the field, bring, analyze, come and present your own police who ask you question, you defend it. And based on that, the lecturer is there, giving award marks to you. In addition to that, they are ever ready down to earth to give you areas, research, to prepare review journals. Their duty is to support the students to come out. And they will give you all journals where you should get materials. But Ghana has become like punishment. They don't want to even offer you that. And our kind of lecturing we are getting in Ghana, it's time now we rise up to the occasion. And I thank you sincerely Mrs. for bringing all this to our attention, special. And then we in Ghana's Parliament will liaise with you and will do statement of the floor in Africa and take it on. And then in Parliament, there are ways that you can do statements. It's one of the tools we use, where the speaker can refer that statement to the appropriate committee to carry on. It is also there. You can do a motion, and you can also ask questions. So these are the tools available for us to use. On this note, I don't want to waste much of your time. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity. Thank you.
Honourable members, may I acknowledge the presence? Thank you very much, Honourable. Honourable members, allow me to acknowledge the presence of some two other guests in our midst. and then I'll tell you how we'll vary the other papers for a quick action to be taken. We have in our midst Honorable Eden Kofi Protosu, who is the PC elect for Whole Central constituency. And we also have Mrs. Ama Dogui, who is the founder of Girl Today, Women Tomorrow NGO. Honour members, we want to vary the other papers. We are going to suspend the House and take pictures so that our guests can see to some important actions. But our MP has assured us that he will come back again to answer your questions. Hopefully, maybe our guest speaker will also attend to something. So maybe when MP comes back, maybe possible or not, they might be around, and then we'll continue with the questions and answers. So we'll suspend sittings, take pictures, we'll handle some other business and proceed with our business. When they come back, then we'll do the questions and answers. So, have my assurance, write your questions down, and we'll take care of that. Honorable Eden Protos is also around. Let's take the pictures, and then we'll deal with the other things. So, honorable members, thank you very much. On that note, proceedings are hereby suspended.